Hazard and welcome to the Suzuki Fronx. It's a funny name, I know. And I've been driving this Fronx for a week. And I'm actually going to tell you straight up, chimneys aside, that this is probably the nicest, bestest Suzuki that I've ever driven. And I'm going to take you through everything. It's got a sort of the standard 1.5 engine, the City GLX, it's got a head-up display and Apple CarPlay and charging mats and all this cool stuff. I'll tell you about all of that. So first up, the design of the Fronx. And what is the Fronx? So the Fronx is it's basically a jumped up version of the Baleno, right? So the Baleno is a little hatch, and this is built on the Baleno platform, and it's just basically raised, got a more chunky body. It's got a bit of a coupe aesthetic at the back, which I really like. So I like the look of this Fronx. I think Suzuki have always made very conservative cars. This seems to be pushing the limit just a little bit, and I absolutely love it. I love the design of the Fronx. Like the headlights are bulgy at the back and the big lights in the front. It's awesome. It's like a really awesome little car. Powering the Fronx is that 1.5 liter engine, which Suzuki put in everything, and for good reason. Because one, it's wildly fuel efficient. Like this thing around town and open road driving combinations of the two, it's doing 6.4 liters per 100. With current fuel prices, that's like a welcome yes. In addition to the 1.5 and the fuel economy, this engine is not turbocharged. It is an absolutely bulletproof engine. My comments are flooded with people going that the engine is underpowered and the engine is too slow. It's a little bit rough and loud. My dad's got a Brezza and his same engine, the same kind of vibe. There's a lot of noise that comes through from the engine bay. Just bear in mind the price point at which you get in this car. As for the underpowered aspect of the engine, 77 kilowatts is not a lot. I agree. There are 1 liter turbocharged, supercharged engines that are doing 100, 120 kilowatts. And that's really cool. But the underpowered engine here, because the engine's not under strain, because the engine is naturally aspirated, this thing's not going to break on you. It's not going to give you trouble. It's not going to be problematic. It's not going to be expensive. You're going to drive this car with this engine for many, 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 many hassle-free miles. And that's why it's underpowered. You can take a 1 liter engine, you can slap 3 turbos on it, and you can get 200 kilowatts out of it. And 60,000 kilometers down the road, that engine is just going to give up on you. I spoke to somebody recently who's a car mechanic, and he was looking at one of these cars, I'm not going to mention the brand, that had a smaller engine, lots of turbos, blah, blah, blah. And he looked, he said, that's a lovely car, it's great to drive. The problem with that car is that at 60,000 kilometers, he's in there replacing pistons and turbos and a range of other stuff because it all just gives up. The Suzukis, these engines are absolutely bulletproof. So yes, it is underpowered. I'm not going to deny that. I'm going to try and tell you that it's fine. Sometimes going up a hill at 77 kilowatts, you wish you had more. So engine out the way. Let's talk about the gearbox. We have the same issue here. It comes in 2 different variants. You get the 5-speed manual and the 4-speed auto. People are always hating on this auto box. It's a 4-speed, it's not enough gears, blah, blah, blah. Mated to a 77 kilowatt 1.5, its gear ratio is actually fine. There's nothing wrong with the gear ratio. If you had more power, yes, I'd agree with you. The gearbox wouldn't be sufficient. But the combination of this 4-speed auto or the 5-speed manual and the 1.5 engine is absolutely perfect. This is made to survive Africa. But now let's get into the meat of this thing. Firstly, it has a head-up display. Love the head-up display. It's awesome. It's not the fanciest head-up display. The head-up display is one of those it folds out and then it projects onto the little screen that sits in the dashboard. It doesn't display onto the windshield. It has wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and that's really awesome. It's got an inductive charging mat, and it's actually a really good location for the inductive charging mat. So you can literally get in the car, you put your phone down there, connect to Apple CarPlay wirelessly, and you just cruise. Your screen in front of you, not completely digital. You do have 2 analog dials and then a little digital screen in the center. It's not multicolored, so you only have this sort of white vibe going on, which is fine. Again, it's crystal clear, it's sharp, it's well lit, but because it's not a wildly expensive digital display, it keeps the price point of the car low, still makes you feel like you have a premium feature, and it's probably going to extend the longevity of that screen way beyond what any other car does. It's just made to look nice and to work well. Like, that's it. That's the value proposition. That's why you want to buy a Suzuki. People are opting for cars that are reliable, that are affordable, that are not likely to just break and malfunction and then parts cost you millions of rands. The rest of the car is pretty straightforward. You have a USB-A port, so there's no USB-C or Type-C charger. The aircon is single zone, so it works pretty well, temperature and you need. Steering wheel pretty standard, volume controls on your left, cruise control on your right, and mobile controls at the bottom. All around, this Fronx, I think, is a phenomenal car. So like, pricing comes in, it starts at about 280-ish, like the GL version with manual gearbox. If you go all the way to the top, which this one is, this is the premium, cream of the crop Fronx. Comes in at 344,000 Rand with all those features, nothing optional extra. Has the auto box, has the 1.5 engine, the CarPlay, the head-up display, the inductive charger.